All right. Well, good morning, everybody, on this historic day in America. I want to welcome everybody to the Americana World Community Center, one of the great spots here in our city that just does all types of great work all the time. So thanks to Edgardo. We appreciate your work, Mr. Chairman. Thank you guys and other members of the board for having us here today. The work happening in places like this really, I think, bring together all of our city's values around health, lifelong learning, and compassion. And that's really critical because we have new citizens coming in, or new people coming into our community that become citizens. Our economy is doing really well right now. Within Metro government, we want to make sure that everybody is positioned so that they can realize their full human potential. That's how we define compassion in our city. And it happens at places here like Americana. Now, for different people, it might mean different things. It could mean job training. It could be going to a place like Code Louisville or Chef Space or our Power Up program administered by our Department of Community Services, just like the programs we're getting ready to talk about here today. And that is tax preparation and making sure that if you have money that's owed to you, that you get it back. So starting next week, the Americana Community Center will be among several sites around our city where we're helping to provide free tax preparation services to citizens. And again, that's free. Louisville Metro Government is partnering with the Louisville Asset Building Coalition and AARP to give residents access to more than 20 free tax preparation sites where trained and IRS certified volunteers will assist with federal and state tax forms and help low and moderate income citizens apply for the Earned Income Tax Credit. In households throughout Louisville, tax refunds provide a critical boost to the family budget. I don't know anybody that complains about getting a tax refund. But the facts are that too often, those who need the tax refund the most end up losing large portions of their refund because of high filing costs and additional fees for quick access to those refunds. Louisville Metro Government and our partners are here today because we believe that you should hold on to each and every penny that you are entitled to on your tax return, all of it. So the Asset Building Coalition and AARP programs can help save people hundreds of dollars in tax preparation fees and help ensure Louisvillians claim all deductions and credits that they are entitled to claim. The IRS estimates that as many as 20% of eligible citizens fail to claim their Earned Income Tax Credit. So working families who earn approximately $53,500 may be eligible with average credits last year of more than $2,400. $2,400 is a lot of money. And for some families, it's a lifeline. It pays a utility bill, put a down payment on a car, take a child to see a doctor, save for college, retirement, whatever it might be. It's a good amount of money. Last year, here in Louisville, the Asset Building Coalition helped people file over 8,500 tax returns. That's led to more than $13,800,000 of federal and state refunds and tax credits coming back to Louisville. So we had the Louisville Asset Building Coalition with 8,500 tax returns. AARP, their team helped to file nearly 12,000 tax returns, so over 20,000 tax returns between them. I want to thank the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, or VITA, workers with the Louisville Asset Building Coalition and the tax aid representatives with AARP. Special thanks to Metro United Way, the IRS. How often do you hear people thanking the IRS? And dozens of partners working together to make this possible. And I applaud and want to thank all of the 20-plus community and government centers, libraries, schools, and other locations that host these services. Now, for the last several months, our Department of Community Services worked closely with the Louisville Asset Building Coalition on several new enhancements. Now, I'm really proud of our Department of Community Services, Eric Friedlander, Tina Lentz is here, their entire team, because we improve every year. So here are the improvements this year. First, we are launching a new automated system for scheduling VITA appointments this system. We've had great success using this appointment system for our LIHEAP Utility Assistance Program. This new system will allow us to better align our volunteer resources with customer demand and, most importantly, decrease client waiting time. Also, Community Services stepped up this year to help with the VITA Volunteer Recruitment Program. And thanks to their efforts, we have more than 50 new volunteers for this season. Let's hear it for the volunteers. Additionally, the Louisville Asset Building Coalition trained Community Services caseworkers so they are better equipped to initiate tax refund conversations with the clients they serve and discuss planned use of refunds and savings. So just helping people be aware that they have this coming to them. And finally, we want to promote and emphasize that free tax software is available for our community. Through United Way and its national partners, the Asset Building Coalition has access to 2 software programs that will prepare and e-file tax returns for low to moderate income families. They are both user-friendly, and starting next week, they can be accessed at labcservices.org, labcservices.org. So kudos to both the Community Services team and the Louisville Asset Building Coalition team in making these improvements. As I mentioned earlier, a special note of thanks to Tina Lentz. Where is Tina? Keeping a low profile, but right here. Tina is all about improvement. I just told her I came from a U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting, and an individual made it his business to come up to me and say what a good job that we do every year improving our outreach at tax time like this, and that is due in no small part to the Executive Administrator for Community Services, Advocacy, and Empowerment Division, and that's Tina Lentz. So, Tina, thank you for your good job. Now I'd like to ask Ron Hatch, the Executive Director of the Louisville Asset Building Coalition, to please come forward to say a few words. Ron?
Thanks, sir. Good morning. Let me reiterate a couple things that the mayor said, and let me catch one piece of information that I think is really important. The first piece of information, and it's already been in the press a bit, but it needs to be there again, is that for everyone this year who files, regardless of whether they're filing with us or with the AARP guys or through tax software or they're going to somewhere else or they're doing the forms in paper, if you are receiving earned income tax credit and or the additional child tax credit, both of what are called refundable tax credits in our world, those people who file early, their returns are going to be delayed. And they're going to be delayed by up to a month. So what we're hearing from the IRS, if you file next week, February 15th is the earliest they'll begin issuing payment on returns with those items in them, and it could be as late as February 27th. So there's going to be a material delay in when returns are given, and we think that's going to create a lot of stress for particularly our lower income clients, folks who are used to their tax return coming in, and they're used to using that money to pay back bills that they have. So we just want to make sure we get the message out for all of the filers. We will be doing that in our sites, both with signage and in conversation, but it's an important change in taxes this year that goes back to a law that was enacted in late 2015. The other piece I want to talk about just a little bit that the mayor hit on was we have access to the free software. There are literally tens of thousands of people in our county that are eligible to use the free software, and last year less than 1,000 did. So folks are either going out and buying what I call a tax in the box program, whatever that program may be, or they're going and having it paid, or they're coming to see us, and many of them very well could use the software. It really is very easy to use. It's very user-friendly. If you just have wages and it's you and your kids, there's no reason to pay to have your tax return done, or even to pay to buy a copy of TurboTax or something else to do your taxes in. That software is out there, and we are working hard to get the message out, but it is terribly underutilized, and we need to help get that message out into the community in a broader sort of way. I also want to do a little bit this morning in trying to put a human face on some of the work we do. So we see lots of clients, and there's tons of stories we could tell. There are tons of stories Doug could tell. We've both done this for a long time. But I want to give you two stories that sort of highlight a couple pieces of information. Both of these are relatively short. The first was an elderly couple that I saw a few years ago that were in their early 80s. They lived alone in their own home. They owned their home. And they had gone to a paid preparer, actually gone to a CPA to have their taxes done for years and years. And the cost for them was $350 a year to have their tax returns completed. Now, in their case, their income, other than Social Security, was under $20,000. So they were not going to have any of their Social Security was going to be taxable. And the CPA had them literally, when they first came to me, they brought in a shoebox full of receipts because the CPA insisted that those were important for them. I would intend that the CPA was making this look harder than it had to be. The reality was, by the time they explained what was in the shoebox to me, I was finished with their return because they didn't need to itemize on their return because their standard deduction was high enough to take care of all of their income. We were done in about 10 minutes, and it was free to them, and they were shocked that they were collecting all of this stuff, prescription receipts. They even had non-prescription receipts that they couldn't use in it, but they were collecting all of this junk that was never going to make a difference in their return. And for folks with $20,000 a year in income, $350 is a lot of money, and it's a shame, and we ought to be able to do that better than we do. The other return is one that really gets more to the long-term impact of tax work on low-income folks in the community. So in 2004, my very first year as a VITA volunteer, we encountered a woman who came in who had not filed in several years. She was very sheepish. She was very worried because she thought she was going to owe a lot of money. This was a woman that was a church secretary, and we got her through the intake, which asked you things like, where do you live? Do you have dependents? Do kids live with you? She left the kids off of her intake form. So we were all the way finished with her first return for the first year we were doing when she said she had to leave because she had to go pick up her children. And I said, tell us about your children. And she did, and they were her kids. They lived with her. The husband had been gone for years and years and out of the picture. She didn't know where he was. She should have been filing as head of household instead of single, and she should have been claiming the kids, which opened up a whole array of other tax things. And by the time we finished her 3 years' worth of taxes, she literally had $24,000 coming back to her for someone who earned $15,000 a year. So that was about $8,000 a year for the 3 years. She used it to buy computers for both of her boys. Within 2 years, both of her boys were in college, and so we began processing not only the earned income tax credit, but we began processing the American Opportunity credits, the credits for education. And we did that for her for all of those years that she was with us till both of her boys graduated from college. And she went back to having an income of about $18,000 by then. And her return got really boring because it was just, she didn't have dependents, she didn't have credits, she didn't have any stuff in it. But with the help of the credits, she was able to support her children. Both of her boys graduated from college. We got to do both of her boys' first year return, and they both started off their professional careers making $45,000 a year. So with the aid of the tax credits, what you see is not only the ability for a family to sustain itself, but the ability for a family to change the trajectory for their children and their opportunities. That's why we do this work. It's why our volunteers give of their time. It's why when I retire, I'll come back in as a volunteer and continue giving of my time to do this. I do not know of any other volunteer activity that I've done throughout the course of my adult life that has as high a return on investment as what we do for our customers. I figure at a minimum over 15 years, I've saved clients somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000. I don't have $600,000 to give away. But we can take a group of volunteers, 100, 200 volunteers, and produce $16 to $20 million worth of returns coming into the community, which in economic terms creates about $30 to $35 million worth of economic impact in Louisville because all of that money gets spent here. So the work we do in VITA is both a significant savings to our clients. It brings significant money into them that they use to support their families. And because we know from tax research that they spend almost all of that money in the local community, it is a tremendous economic development tool for the community. So that's the work we do, and that's why we do it. And back to you or straight to Doug?
Let's go to Doug.
Doug?
Doug with AARP.
Good morning. I don't have any horror stories. I don't have any big new stuff. AARP will address the tax needs of every person that comes through the door. There are no income restrictions. There are no age limitations. There are no restrictions at all. Every single person that comes through the door gets dealt with. We'd even take care of the mayor. Well, you know, speaking of luminaries, our job is to make sure that people who come around our city fulfill their civic responsibility. Civic responsibility includes filing taxes. Now, if you're going to do that, then you might as well do it so it benefits. So we sit there and work as you do, trying to make sure that the clients get every nickel back that the government can't demand, which kind of sounds awful in a way, but that's the way civic responsibility works. So last year, AARP did about 12,000 returns, and we have about 250 client preparers, and we need more. We lost the site this year. We need more sites. We need, the closest one to where we're standing is the Iroquois Library. But if you know somebody that would like to spend a little time getting to know some really neat people, have them come and talk to us, because we got room. We've got room, and we've got training, and we've got good cheer, and we've got wonderful benefits. Thank you for your time.
Doug, thank you for this and everything that AARP does for our community. You guys are active 24/7 and helping the city in a lot of different ways, so I appreciate it very much. Now, none of this could get done if we didn't have a lot of great volunteers. We have over 200 volunteers who are making these services possible in our community. And I have a pleasure of working with one of these volunteers on a regular basis. She's a vital volunteer who also happens to be a Metro Councilwoman for District 14. And as a council person, you're busy. And so you can always judge, I don't say, you can always, I guess judge is the right word, folks by what they do in their volunteer time when they're busy. And so Councilwoman Cindy Fowler is a vital volunteer, and she steps out to help folks. And I think that's just a tremendous symbol of the work that she does every day. So please welcome Councilwoman Fowler.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to tell you how fulfilling it is to be a volunteer. This is my 10th tax season with VITA. Started just out at it wasn't at Sun Valley. We started at the post office. Really, it was at St. Clement's School. So we had just a little office, but it has grown. And Sun Valley, we have over 8 sites across the city, but Sun Valley is the one that's in my district, and we are family out there. We have got some of the best volunteers, and we really could use more. So if you want to come and join our team, we'd love to have you. The training is free, and you are going to be IRS certified, so please come out and join our team, and please don't pay to have your taxes done. It's real important that you keep that money in your pocket to use for you and your family. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We're also joined here today by another member of our council, and that's Dan Johnson. We're here in his district, the 21st District. So, Councilman, if you'd like to share a few words with us. Dan Johnson.
I'd like to say that VITA started in the council when Bob Henderson started doing it, and I've been helping fund it since then because it does take money even though they're volunteers. And I think we'll continue doing that as councilmen because that's one of the things we like to do is spend your tax dollars that we raise towards helping you all with this problem, because it certainly is an issue in most people's homes that they're worried about their taxes and the amount of money that they're going to get back. So I hope that this year's a good year for everybody, and everybody gets their money back, and thank you very much.
I'd like to recognize another council person, Bill Hollander, who's with us today, just as a supporter of VITA and good government. So thank you, Councilman, for the good work that you do every day. And then representing our federal delegation here today, Shelley Spratt is with us, representing Congressman John Yarmouth, and we're very grateful for the Congressman's help and efforts with this program and so many more. So, Shelley, thank you for being with us today. Okay, just a couple reminders. This year's tax season gives us 3 extra days. We can file through April the 18th, and with all the help available, get your taxes in. Nobody has an excuse not to file, and you might get money back. And lastly, to find out where you can find free tax assistance, call the new VITA appointment line at 502-305-0005, or go online at LouisvilleKYVITA.scheduler.com. Or you can just call Metro United Way's Help Referral Service at 211. Or visit labcservices.org if you're interested in filing your own taxes online. And for the information about AARP sites, call 592-394-3443 or Google AARP Tax Aid Louisville, or visit AARP-tax-aid-lou.org. All this is in your press kit. We have some additional materials here today as well. Take some and pass them on out to your community organizations and give it to someone you know who is eligible. So I really want to thank everybody for being here with us today, and happy to take any questions about our VITA services. Yes, ma'am. Hi. Hi.
This might be geared maybe toward maybe Councilwoman Cindy Fowler, someone who's volunteered. If you could maybe explain what that process is for someone who says, I want to volunteer, but I don't think I'm qualified, or I don't really know what I'm doing, what would you say to those people?
Just give us a call at LABC, and I'm sorry, the number to LABC is
502-814-1056.
Thank you, Debbie. And then we would set up a time for you to come out and do the training. And it's just half a day, isn't that right? 4 hours, or is it 8?
4.
Yeah, 4 hours. And then you'll be certified. You can take your test at your own leisure. You won't find anything that's more fulfilling. It is wonderful to sit next to somebody and do their taxes, and then they are able to go home and say, wow, I've got $8,000, you know? And they didn't come in thinking they were going to leave with $8,000. So, it's great. And those hugs that you get at the end are so worth it. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much for coming out today. Have a good weekend.
This has been a Metro TV production, a public service of Louisville Metro government.